After me. I do solemnly.
I do solemnly.
Sincerely and truly.
Sincerely, truly.
Declare and affirm.
Declare and affirm.
That the evidence I shall give.
That the evidence I shall give.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth. And nothing but the truth.
After me. I do solemnly.
I do solemnly.
Sincerely and truly.
Sincerely and truly.
Declare and affirm.
Declare and affirm.
That the evidence I shall give.
That the evidence I shall give.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Mrs. Land.
Wayne, you've prepared a statement for the inquiry dated the 10th of December 2025. Can you tell us that the contents are true and accurate as far as you're concerned?
Yes.
Tracy, you've prepared a statement also 10th of December 2025. Can you tell us that the contents are true and accurate as far as you're concerned? Yes, true. We know, Wayne, on the 13th of June, that you were attacked with a van driven by VC. We know that you were admitted to the East Midlands Major Trauma Centre and to intensive care unit where you were ventilated and intubated for 3 days, moved to a high dependency unit and then a major trauma ward and then on to Linden Lodge, a rehabilitation unit.
Yes.
We know from the pen portrait film that you both did how it's affected your brain, it's a serious injury, and your memory. What are the first things you can remember? And I think from your statement, it's around Linden Lodge, the rehab unit. Can you remember anything about being there?
All I can remember is I woke up in the lodge, looking around as patients laid in bed. And while I was there, I didn't know why I was in pain, why my head was hurting. It's confusing. Nobody would give me the answers to why I was there. It was very scary. Very, very scary.
And I think, Tracy, you played a big part in him coming away from Linden Lodge and living in your home together. Is that right? And how was it for Wayne at the rehab unit?
It was a real struggle because he actually didn't understand why he was there. He couldn't remember what had happened. And he's woken up in this place and doesn't know what the place is. So he's really anxious. He obviously can see that there's people around him in beds. It doesn't look familiar at all. He doesn't recognise me at all. So for him, it's so scary to be there.
And so we're clear, Chair, the injuries as a result of the attack, you set them out, Wayne, in your statement. A traumatic brain injury is a consequence of 2 skull fractures, bruising to the front left side of the brain, numerous lacerations to face and body, severe bruising to my body, right shoulder injuries, including a broken collarbone, right-sided pelvic fracture, complex pelvic fracture at the base of your spine, and chest injuries, including a fracture of the 5th rib on the right side. So physically, seriously injured and mentally left not knowing why you were there or what happened.
Not knowing. Very painful.
Since those events, things have moved forward for you both living together in terms of getting some form of social life and your life improving together. Do you want to say anything about that?
Obviously, since what happened, it's been a roller coaster. The home was taken over by various agencies, from the occupational therapists, psychologists, physiotherapists. We've been living in a bubble. There's constant hospital appointments. I took a year off work to be with Wayne because he needed me there to be with him. Just constant worry every day. I was struggling, and it's obviously Wayne's got hardly any memory. Well, he's got no memory at all. He doesn't recognise things. He's obviously relying on me for everything.
Let me ask you about your contact with the police after these events. You had contact, didn't you, with the DC Joho, who was your family liaison officer. And we know, and you set out the dates in your statement when she visited you. Can you remember now, either of you, anything about your first meeting with DC Joho and whether you discussed the attacks or the attacker or anything like that?
I can initially remember feeling quite relieved that someone had come to see us. It was someone that we should trust. She's going to tell us everything that we need to know. I asked her that if VC was known to the police, and she said there was no history of them at all with the police. I did ask her if there'd been any tests done, drug testing, had he been drinking? I just can't understand why would someone do this. But obviously at this time as well, I don't know the extent of what's happened.
So this was a meeting very early on, was it?
Very early on. She was really pleasant. We took to her straight away. Felt quite comfortable with her. She was very helpful. But obviously, she's been sitting on all this information that she already knew.
When you say that, information that she already knew, do you mean about VC?
All the previous incidents she would have known. It's so disappointing to know that she would have known all of this. And she wasn't allowed to tell us, obviously. So, yeah.
So why, if it doesn't seem obvious, why were you asking if he was known to the police before?
Because it was such a severe, serious
I just wanted to know what kind of man he was. Why he was well, I didn't know just the severity of what he did to his obviously but I just wanted to kill them until there was a court case and I found out a lot more than I wanted to know. And she could have told us.
Or even if she couldn't tell us, she could have said, I'm really sorry, I can't disclose any information at the moment. This is all part of court proceedings.
And you understand,
at least would have known that there's something.
And do you understand it might have been difficult to say some things while there's an investigation and court proceedings?
Yeah.
But if that was the reason for not giving information to you, you'd like to have known that.
Yeah.
Because was your impression that he wasn't known to the police and there weren't issues, or did you just not know for those early conversations?
The impression was that he wasn't known to the police at all. This is a first offence.
There was a later meeting with DC Joho, wasn't there, on the 18th of January 2024, when you were shown a timeline and some CCTV. Would you like to tell us about that meeting?
And she tried to show us a video.
Yeah, she tried to show you a video, yeah.
That got stopped. That's just to stop it or trace it. I don't know where it went.
Well, it was all rushed. It was on a Thursday. So obviously this was going out in the press the following day. So obviously the rush of that, we had a room full of people to watch, to be with us, to support us. And this video was shown to us and it was really alarming. I could actually say stop. But that should have been shown to us sooner. and it should have been done in a different approach. We left quite upset after.
And was it video of the driving attacks? Was that part of it?
Yes.
The vehicle and where the vehicle was going and the like?
Yeah.
When you say the video stopped, Wayne, was the concern that it should stop before it showed what had happened to you in a graphic way? Was that what you were keen to prevent Wayne from seeing?
I didn't see it. Yeah. I've been told by one specialist that I'm not allowed to see it even now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see it.
Was that discussed with you before that video was shown about that you didn't want to see anything like that? Or was there no conversation about what you were about to be shown, what it was about?
Don't recall that. All I imagine happened was we were just shown the video. I don't remember any conversation days before. It just all happened at once.
When you say there were lots of people in the room, can you remember who was there?
There was Wayne's brain injury team.
Mm-hmm.
There was the solicitors, the government, Rebecca Howard, psychologists. There was a lot of people in the room. Yeah, it was really overwhelming.
You went on subsequently to do victim impact statements with the police, didn't you?
Yeah.
In preparation for the court hearing. And can I ask you some questions about the court hearing? When, what do you remember about that, the hearing itself?
I thought it was horrifying listening to what happened. So I wasn't expecting it at all. So it was horrifying. And towards the end, we all seemed to know what was going to happen because they should come round telling everyone no shouting, no noise, no, before we even got the answers. And when we got the answers, we knew why they were saying that to us. So we already knew what was going to happen.
So no shouting, no noise. What did you think that meant?
But no, exactly what it meant. That's going to be a bad sentence. It's getting away with it.
Not the right sentence.
And had you had a discussion with anyone from the CPS about the proceedings and what was going to happen? Did you meet anyone from the CPS yourselves?
I don't recall that.
Did anyone from the police talk to you about what was going to happen at the hearing and what he was charged with and sentencing?
Joelle actually come with us, didn't she? She sat next to me all the way through it all.
And was that helpful?
I found her very helpful, but obviously not telling us things didn't help. But she was very friendly, very helpful. It was nice.
And in terms of how you were accommodated in the court, Wayne, how did that work? Were you sitting somewhere where you could get away if you wanted to, for example, or out of the court, just as you have with the inquiry where you need to move on? Or?
I had to exit the court a lot because I had a bad cough then and I didn't feel very clever, and I had to literally walk past VC within probably 2 metres of me every time I want to leave the court, and I don't know, how do you react to that? Staring at the man, what did all this?
Were you prepared for that?
Not at all. Yeah.
And how do you think it's possible to prepare for that, for people to prepare for that? What do you think should have been done or could have been done to prepare you for that?
I should have been a lot further away. I don't know, I can't answer that one, but it wasn't very good.
There should have been meetings beforehand to discuss what we were to expect, even down to the family room, which was totally inadequate. Survivors with families who have lost, we were all together. That was really upsetting.
Why was that particularly difficult?
didn't know what to say, to be honest.
And you hadn't met before?
Never met before.
We didn't know who it was. And she's obviously upset because she's lost family, and we're sat there. I've got my family with me, and it's very stressful.
It was insensitive. We were sat in the same room. We were sat with Elaine Newton and the Coates families. They may also have felt the same too about all of the way it was set up. The courtroom too was so packed. The seating on our side, Wayne's family were all sat on benches at the side of us. He was really close to all of those. Didn't expect that. For anyone to have to leave the room, having to walk past him.
Wayne, you say in your statement, could it have been a case that was heard in the Old Bailey or in London or somewhere else? You felt that the court wasn't big enough or able to accommodate what was required for this hearing?
It was too packed, too many people close to each other, and too close to him. So, yeah.
You tell us that you had a meeting with the police commissioner in February 2024, Caroline Henry, and you spoke with her about life prior to the incident, how you couldn't do basic tasks or go to work when you're a very independent man and went to work, Wayne. And they told you about a review that was taking place regarding the police. Can you remember anything about that now? That meeting with Caroline Henry?
Yes. Yeah, we did have a conversation with her, and I asked her questions about things that I'd heard or seen in social media regarding VC's involvement with a particular male that we met in London. And also about an ex-police officer, Stephen Greenwood, I believe his name was, who also believed he'd been assaulted by VC in the Mapley area. And
were these things you picked up through the media or social media?
Yes, but just want to ask the question, has this been looked into? Are you aware of this? She said she would look into this.
Did you ask her about what they knew about VC, or were you just raising concerns that you had got from reading things elsewhere?
Mostly our solicitor spoke on behalf for us.
Right.
She did most of the talking. And she basically wanted to make us feel like she was truly going to investigate and make sure that everything was brought out into the open. So we trusted that. And we left feeling quite a bit better about it all.
And did you get any information back from her about any of the questions that you'd raised?
No, not as I recall, no.
In March 2024, the 8th of March 2024, we know you met with the Chief Constable, Kate Maynell. She had been contacting bereaved families and survivors to say she'd be content to meet. You met with her. What did you say to her? What was that meeting about?
I think she seemed to try and speak more about the data breach and avoid really the WhatsApp information. That's how it appeared to me. And it was only a very short meeting. Again, we left and felt like we were going to get answers from this. But yet again, nothing came of it.
Did you, Tracy, raise the concern that you had been told by DC Joe that the police had no prior history with VC, which you then knew wasn't true? Did you raise that directly? And did the Chief Constable say anything about why information wasn't being handed out by the police about him at that time or not?
I think she said she was going to look into that, and she again would get back to us.
Did you feel that that meeting, both with the Chief Constable and the Commissioner, appeared to focus more on misconduct and data breaches than it did about VC himself and the information you wanted to know about their dealings with him?
Yes.
And if it doesn't seem obvious, why did you want to know more about their dealings with him?
Because we hadn't got a full picture of what's been happening, and we need to know more. We need to put the jigsaw together. We need to put these pieces together, and we just don't know fully what's been going on. It just seems such a serious crime that is committed. And why would he do this? So we want the answers. We want to know why this happened. Obviously, at this time, we don't know that there's been previous assaults on the warrants out for his arrest. We don't know nothing about this. This is all coming a lot later on down the line.
On the 5th of April 2024, when you went to a meeting with the College of Policing to discuss concerns, and you were shocked that officers had been accessing the case, and you worried about what information they were getting to.
I was worried about that. Just waking up in the morning and going on my laptop and seeing the video myself. And I did say that to them.
Yeah.
I was very worried.
So you didn't want to see it and you're worried about other people seeing it and where these things end up.
Exactly.
I'm just going to ask you about some correspondence. There's copies there if you want to have a look, but I can tell you what they say. See that bundle there in front of you there, Tracy, with the, not that one, the little one. So it looks as though on the 30th of January 2024, you get this letter by email from the Chief Constable asking to meet with you and your family to hear your concerns about our management of the response, how you feel you should have been better supported, and about how you believe we and our partners could do more to prevent such a terrible crime happening again. So that's sent to you, and as we've discussed, you did take the offer up, didn't you, and meet with her subsequently?
Yes.
Did you consider that there was any real discussion about how the police could prevent such a terrible crime happening again, as you were having a discussion with her? You get another letter, the second one in that bundle, NGPF 0007232. And this is the letter that again is sent to others. And we see in the second paragraph, to you, Wayne, dear Wayne, I want to start by apologising for the fact that you were not provided the details of our PSD investigations or details regarding the hearings. This should not have happened. I also wish to acknowledge the hurt and anguish these matters will be causing you. So this again about data breaches to you.
Yeah.
You, if we can have on the screen in the hearing room, NGPF 0007144, page 1. You, Tracy, send this email back in response to a letter. Would you like to read that? It's your email and your...
To Miss Maynor?
Yes.
From Tracy Hodgson. Thank you for your email yesterday, 22nd of February at 6:15. Unfortunately, this information was old news, literally word for word, had already been on social media, and it shouldn't be the way we find out. I would guess you have been made aware Wayne Burkett suffered traumatic brain injury, but yet you sent an email to him to correspond with you. Wayne's brain injury means he is totally incapable of replying to you. Also, do you or any of the force remember that there are 3 other victims of the 13th of June 2023 attacks? Wayne, Sharon and Marcin all seem to be forgotten because they are survivors of this horrendous crime that was committed by VC. Please could you respect and remember to keep us informed by post, and more importantly, before it reaches the media. Tracy Hodgson.
It's a powerful email which speaks for itself, but why did you think that needed sending? I've taken just some of the correspondence. There were more letters, weren't there, that Wayne was receiving. Why did you think it's necessary to say that?
Was finding more information from social media, television, and from the police, which it should be something important that should never happen.
And you wanted accurate information.
Yes.
And you might have expected a way to get accurate information would be via the police. So,
We're finding out the wrong way. You know, that was sent and it was literally on social media. And for her to send it to Wayne, obviously she's overlooked that Wayne's injuries include this severe, serious brain injury.
and to be clear, the bit you were finding out over social media was the WhatsApp messages, the
Yes.
WhatsApp group.
Yes.
The next document in that bundle for you, Tracy, and if we can have on the screen, WITN 0273003, page 1. An open letter from Nottinghamshire Police and the Crime Commissioner Caroline Henry. And this was sent to you. And Wayne, it referred to recently meeting the families of Grace O'Malley Kumar, Barnaby Webber and Ian Coates, victims of VC. I have also spent time talking with Wayne Burkett, who was lucky to survive but has been left physically and mentally scarred by Calocane. And further down, our focus should be and is on ensuring the legacy of the victims is lasting and positive change. In terms of how your injuries are described at various points, Wayne, clearly you've had a serious brain injury. You've seen a lot of documents in this inquiry now. Do you think that was properly recognised in the way your injuries were described at every time?
Not by the police, no.
What do you understand how your injuries were referred to by the police on occasion?
I think they just treat me like I broke a bone and not brain damage. It was embarrassing.
Well, that same thing happened with, on the day, Wayne's description for his injuries was broken clavicle to the ambulance who were going to pick him up. So it was overlooked. So when they would arrive, they wouldn't know that Wayne had got a brain injury, which had been explained to them.
Which day are you talking about there? On the day?
On the day.
13th.
Yeah.
You also received the last document in that bundle, WITN 0273014, a letter from Dr. Shamir, Medical Director at Nottingham University Hospitals, notifying you about potentially inappropriate access to your records, and they were widening their investigation. Again, your concern about that way was what people would be accessing and where it would end up and the impact on you.
Exactly the same, yeah. And everybody else, not just me, families, everybody.
Were you Did you become aware of a memorial event in Nottingham at St Peter's Church in June 2024? It was the anniversary of the attacks. Did you become aware of that and end up going there?
Yes.
How did that come about? Can you tell us that?
But I wasn't invited.
Mm-hmm.
But we just decided to go.
It was mentioned on a phone call, I think, the previous evening. And we turned up.
Everybody was there, wasn't they?
It
Police,
was really strange,
the
actually.
mayor. And they made us very welcome, though, didn't they? They made us very welcome.
Kate Maynard.
And when you say you weren't invited, did anyone phone you in advance to say this is happening?
Yeah. Yeah, it was mentioned to us.
And they did say it's
It
private.
didn't say we can't come.
They did say it's private.
Private?
Yeah.
No media.
Mm-hmm.
It was totally
No
private.
public.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously no one was aware of it because there was no cameras outside.
Mm-hmm.
Just literally walked in. And we were actually asked to take the flowers down to the front of the church.
Mm-hmm. And do you think it would have been better to have more notice about that? Did you understand the purpose of that? Who was it being held for, in effect?
They were,
The police, the commissioners,
yeah,
or the oil people, the mayor. And those were friendly, no?
they were showing their respect.
I bet it's a bit shocked
privately.
to see us, especially Kate Maynard.
Did you have a conversation there with Kate Maynard about the information?
She just basically said, I haven't forgotten, Tracy. I'll be getting back to you. About the questions that I'd asked, I mentioned earlier. But I never heard anything more again regarding that.
Moving to the end of your statements, when you refer to potential recommendations that the chair could be thinking about, you say, as I've referred to earlier, Nottingham Crown Court was not properly equipped to handle a case of this size and seriousness. Did you speak to the prosecution counsel at all after the hearing or before that hearing about what was going to happen?
He came down to us
This is after.
afterwards. He was trying to make light of the sentencing result, trying to obviously make us feel better. He referred to the fact that VC, although he may not have gone to prison, the place that he was going to, the hospital, was also a really bad place to be, to make us feel better about the situation. That was all about what he said. It was all rushed.
You felt rushed. Did you
Yeah.
feel rushed in the whole
We were waiting for a long time.
waiting for a long time?
Waiting for a long time to see him.
You say, Wayne, I can confirm there needs to be a review of how individuals with violent histories are monitored and managed by the police and other agencies. Fair enough. What do you think about that, Tracy? That knowing what is known now about VC, do you think there should have been more monitoring and understanding between agencies about him?
All the way. They all should have been linked together. But obviously in this case, he's been let go over and over again.